Hello and welcome back to the Jessica Pinelli podcast. Happy New Year. It's 2024. I did have all the intentions to get back into the podcast a lot sooner, probably like the first week of January, but it has been a busy start to the brand new year. My partner and I, we were still back home in Perth for Christmas, for New Year's. Then we got back and we had to pack up our apartment. And my YouTube subscribers, you can see right now I'm in a different setting. I'm in a brand new apartment, an apartment that I have been bringing into my existence, trying to manifest into my existence probably for at least the last 8 months. And it just all fell into place. And I'm so excited. This isn't going to be where I record all of the time, but the room that I will be is actually the room that is full of boxes right now that need to be removed. So I was like, you know what? I don't even need lights where I am right now. The natural light is streaming in. It's one of the reasons I love this apartment. And I can just do really cozy vibes. But I'm so excited to be back. If you are here on YouTube and you're watching for the first time, listening to the podcast, I would absolutely love it if you hit the subscribe button, if you hit the thumbs up. It pushes my videos to all of the high achieving women that really need to hear this message. And towards the end of last year, I have attracted so many more of you, not only here on YouTube, but also my listeners across Spotify, across iTunes. And it was just such an amazing year last year in 2023 for the podcast. I really found my mojo again, and it just made me really, really happy to find that mojo because I lost it for a little bit. I took time off the podcast and I really just lost the purpose behind why I want to record and why this is a medium of communication for me. And I'm just excited for this year. I do have the intention, and I'm saying it now on the first episode back for this year. I do have the intention to bring on more guests starting February. January is always, and I say this to my clients, I say this to my friends, January is always like this testing month. And it doesn't mean that you make excuses or you justify. It is just a month where you start to see, all right, my goals, my intentions that I set. Which, by the way, if you haven't set your goals, your intentions, you're feeling overwhelmed already, or you're feeling a bit flustered with where to go, how to start, you're having a bit of fear of failure, fear of success, fear of judgment, you can get my goals workshop replay only for $22. Wherever you're watching, listening to this, it will be in the show notes below. And I have got some amazing feedback for that goals workshop. But January is just really the time to understand where you're at. What are your motivation levels? And not in the sense you need these dopamine hits, but what are you really doing to make the rest of the year the most productive, successful year in your terms? Remember, you get to define what success is, the most productive and successful year for you. But before we get into today's episode, let's do an angel card pull. I am feeling three. I wanted to do two, but I just feel like I need to do three. We are going to do this for the energy for the rest of January, or whenever you are listening to this, wherever you are in the month, this will be the vibe for the rest of the month. So if you're listening to this one random April and it's like April 3rd, this is the vibe for the rest of your month. All right. I kind of did a pre shuffle. I felt the energy. I actually left these here in Brisbane when I went away to Perth. I miss them so much. I had my like mini angel cards, but I really miss these. All right. Pick a number one, two, and three. I forgot to say that. I like subconsciously said that. Pick a number one, two, and three right now. Don't overthink. Feel into your body. Whatever came up straight away. One, two, or three. Hold that number. That is going to be your card. Now, I don't read the book. I'm just going to go by intuition, what I feel, whatever drops into my head straight away. And I know that you're all loving this. If you're loving this and you're watching it on YouTube, please let me know what card you got. Please let me know that you like when I do this because I definitely enjoy it. And I've gotten a lot of people come over onto Instagram and tell me, like, keep doing it. Don't forget it. I love it. So, my number ones, your card is Akasha. I can't say this word correctly. Your guidance is divinely guided. So if you've been feeling like you want some signs or you want some synchronicities or you feel like you're kind of alone on this journey, this is to remind you you're never alone. You can ask for help from the universe, from your higher self, your intuition, God, universe, whatever, whoever you believe in, and you are always divinely guided. And another reminder that everything happens in perfect divine timing. So, love that. That's a vibe for the rest of the month for you. My number twos, you got Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. Oh, I like this energy for the start of the year, especially the first month. But again, wherever you are in the year, this is really saying that you are doing the foundational work, and the foundational work, it is happening as it's meant to, but you need to continue to do it. That's what I'm really like tuning into is, and the word here, seeding the light. For me, the word seed is sticking out for me. So planting your seeds of what you want to come into fruition. You can't grow a fruit garden and just get the soil and water it. You need to plant the seeds. So continue planting the seeds. You are doing the thing that you are meant to be doing. And then my number threes, this is for you, mirror. Who or what is triggering you? I've actually been having a lot of conversations with my mastermind clients around triggering. And the first thing that comes up is use everyone as a reflection of you. Own, love, and heal whatever is coming up in other people, as much as it may feel icky, as much as it may not make sense. Every single person is a mirror. Everything that happens to you in this 3D physical reality is a reflection, and triggers equal feedback. I always remind my clients of this. Like, whatever is triggering you is just feedback for you. And that feedback can be such a productive thing. So I hope whatever you chose has given you a little bit of insight into the rest of your month, wherever you are in I was going to say in the world. Yeah, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in the year when you are listening to this episode, if it's not in real time. And I hope it guides you and it gives you some ideas of how to move forward. But speaking of, that was like the perfect segue. I am just going to do this is just like the starter episode for the year, but I'm going to just speak about getting back into the swing of things. I think it's really easy, especially at this time. We're heading into the third week at time of recording of the brand new year starting. And the third week is normally when I start to see a lot of women start to get back into their old ways or start to repeat old patterns of behavior. And I really want to center this short podcast episode, but effective podcast episode around an analogy that I actually came up with this morning. It has some refining to do, but it's fresh. I've already spoken about it to my one-on-one clients, and I really like it. It's a bit of a sandwich. It's like the change sandwich. I don't know. This may develop. This may change over time, for lack of a better word. But basically, how I look at change and how I want you to start to look at change as we've started this brand new year and you want to get into the swing of things, you have these great big goals and ambitions, and you really want to master your life. Which, by the way, speaking of mastering your life, this is the entire vibe of my mastermind, Wool Mastery. Wool Mastery stands for Woman Mastery. So it's a mastermind for you to be able to master your subconscious thoughts, be able to manage and regulate your emotions so you can create the life that is on your vision board. You can create a life of success and fulfillment. Imagine right now your dream life. Imagine the money that you desire. Imagine the material possessions you desire. Imagine the relationships, the career or the business. Imagine the health and the wellness. What is that for you? What is that desire when it comes to your next level, your next dream life? That is what we speak about in Mastery Mastermind. And the difference here is we work on the key thing, mastering your subconscious thoughts. You don't change your subconscious mind. You don't change the way that you were thinking. It's going to be very hard. You can do all of the things, read the books, listen to the podcast, watch the YouTube videos, but unless you master what's happening subconsciously, it's going to feel really tough to actually make a change. So this analogy, I'm actually going to speak about it. I spoke about it with my one-on-ones today, but I'm going to speak about it more in depth in the mastermind call later tonight as well. But that is the vibe. And when it comes to changing your life, I want you to think of it as a sandwich, right? The change is in the middle, and on the outside, you've got the two pieces of bread. right? So the first piece of bread is what I call how people justify or the excuses that come up. And I'm going to go into each part in a second. But that's one part of bread. Then you have the change. And then on the second part of bread that's closing off the sandwich, you have the fears, the subconscious fears. So what does this mean? How does it relate to getting into the swing of things? How does it relate to change? I find that these two elements, and this is why I've called a sandwich, a change sandwich, come up when we are trying to effectively make a change and master our lives. So the first thing is going to be we think of the change, we think of what we want to do, we look at our vision board, we look at our goals list, and it's like, all right, I want to work towards X amount of dollars in my business, or I want to lose X amount of kilos, or I want to attract this dream relationship, whatever it is. And we start to justify, aka start to use excuses, but really justify and stroke our own ego as to why we should not change, as to why we should not do the thing that's going to move the needle. Something I speak about in direct correlation with the word success. Again, you get to define what success is, but something I speak about a lot is actually when we are defining success, a lot of people will start to do the easiest version of success. They'll think of like the biggest thing. And maybe right now you're starting to get overwhelmed. So you start minimizing what success is, and it becomes a lot easier to justify why we should not do the thing. So the first thing to look at, and this like flows all into, mastering your subconscious mind, understanding what is happening unconsciously, but starting to understand your justifications when you go to do something different. Let's use a very tangible example. Let's say you want to start an online business and you wake up on a Monday and you're feeling motivated, and then maybe you go to the gym, you start your morning routine, and then you want to start your online business, which requires you to post, which requires you to show up on your Instagram stories, post to TikTok, write an email to your email list. But then you start to justify why it should not happen today. Maybe you start to think, oh, I need to get all my content sorted, so I'll start posting tomorrow. Or I need to connect my accounts to my Facebook page, so I'll start tomorrow. Or I can't write that email yet because I still haven't done the links, and I can't do the links because of XYZ. See how some of these may seem really, really obvious, but these are the things we start to do. We start to justify why we should not move into change. So that really is the first barrier. That's the first slice of bread in your sandwich, your change sandwich, that I want you to start to become very consciously aware of when it is happening. And excuses and justifying things feel good for our ego. So you probably won't even realize why you were justifying, why you were making an excuse, or that you're doing it, I should say. You probably won't even notice when you're doing it and how you're doing it until you actually sit with yourself and you be present in your body and you realize, okay, I really wanted to start showing up in my business or start a brand new business this week, and now it's Thursday and I haven't made any progress or nothing's happened. And instead of going into a spiral thinking it's not for you, you can't do it, or you're failing already, you actually just need to be honest and say, well, every time I actually go show up on my story, or every time I go to record a TikTok or record a podcast, what starts to happen? Now, when we do start to change, it can be the smallest thing or it can be the biggest thing. But when we do start to change, what actually happens is the second slice that is closing off the sandwich, the fears start to arise. Maybe it's the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of being seen, and the fear of judgment. And when we start to realize what fears are showing up, and yes, there are other fears, but these are the main ones, which, by the way, I've done a whole series on these fears. You can just scroll through the different episodes and see what comes up. Um, scroll, I'm trying to remember what episode number it is. It's not too far ago, but definitely, if you have any of those fears, I've done a whole series on them. Go and listen to that. Sometime this year, maybe in the next 6 months, I will do an updated version as well. I love doing that. But then that's the next thing, because then we start to change and then we play into our fears. Oh, well, what if I fail? Or what if my mom says something about me, or my best friend says something? Or, what if I post this TikTok and it actually does get millions of views, and then I'm going to get all this hate because it's a polarizing point of view? Or what if I do this and I am really successful, and then maybe my family is going to expect me to pay for everything, and so I get scared of success? Again, conscious awareness, which, by the way, we work through all of this and I give like quite tangible frameworks and concepts inside of the mastermind All the details are below. You can apply for the next intake Feb/March. And it's just, yeah, all my YouTubers can see me smiling right now because it's just such an amazing mastermind. Plus, it's the dashboard of the concepts and frameworks that just 12 out of 10, if I do say so myself. But I just wanted to share with you this kind of like change analogy sandwich type thing, because I want you to become very aware of what is actually happening if you're struggling to change when you start to make the change. And obviously on either side there are different steps, things that I've spoken about on the podcast, things that I speak about in my mastermind and in my coaching. But the most important thing to start at is to become consciously aware of what you were justifying, what your excuses are. And then when you do start to change, what are the fears that are actually hindering you? What are the fears that are actually keeping you small, that you're minimizing yourself so you don't experience that fear? And unless you break either of those cycles, unless you master your subconscious mind, master the way you're thinking, master your belief system, you will continue to be inside this sandwich forever and ever. So I mean, it feels like a quicker episode for me, but I did want to just start the year with a shorter episode of like how to get into the momentum, what happens when you were trying, and then what happens when you are in the side of the momentum, but you start to slow down or you start to stall. And these are the things to start to become consciously aware of, because we can consume all of the content, we can sign up to all of the free masterclasses, whatever it is, but unless you're actually sitting down, being present in your body, being consciously aware of what's actually hindering you and what's actually stopping you, you will never be able to successfully move forward. So I hope you've enjoyed this start to the podcast for this year. I'm very excited for this year. I am actually going to, this should be posted tonight, but I'm going to Bali for about a month tomorrow. I've got a friend's 30th, and then I just thought that's next weekend, I think. And then I thought, why don't I just stay? I can see my friends that I've made when I was back in Bali in 2019, and I can just be in a different creative environment. Although I am obsessed with my brand new apartment and the bright natural lighting. It's just, oh, it's giving me so, my soul is just lit on fire with this natural lighting, as a content creator as well. I love it. I love it. But I am excited for Bali. The next episode won't, I'm going to probably record now back to back. So yeah, I will see you next week when the third episode of the year comes out and I'll be in Bali. But I'll speak to you soon. And I would absolutely love the support for the podcast. If you have any suggestions for what topics you'd like to listen, comment below for my YouTubers, slide into my DMs for all of you who are listening to the podcast. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.